A simple piece of fruit, something you have probably eaten your whole life believing it was perfectly healthy, could be silently raising your risk of a major stroke while you sleep. There may be no symptoms and no warning. You go to bed feeling fine, and you can wake up unable to speak, unable to stand, or unable to move one side of your body. I know this sounds shocking, but as a doctor, I must be clear today, we are not talking about junk food. We are talking about healthy food eaten the wrong way at the wrong time by a body that has changed with age. To help us understand this, we are so honored to have Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara with us. Doctor, thank you for being here to discuss this sensitive topic.
Thank you for having me, Ben. This is a very important and often misunderstood subject. The problem is never the fruit itself. The fruit is a gift from nature. The problem is that after the age of 60, our bodies begin to follow a new set of rules. Our kidneys process minerals differently. Our liver metabolizes sugars and other compounds more slowly. Our blood vessels are not as flexible as they once were. A food that was perfectly safe for you at age 40 can become a risk at age 70 if you do not understand and respect these new rules.
And our entire goal today is to teach you those new rules. In this detailed guide, Dr. Hinohara will walk us through 6 common fruits that can pose a hidden risk for seniors. For each one, he will share a powerful story from one of his patients, and I will explain the simple science behind the danger. But most importantly, after we have explained the risks, we will give you a complete safe fruit protocol, a set of simple, clear rules so that you can continue to eat fruit with wisdom and without fear. We believe it is a blessing to have the wisdom to care for our bodies as they change through the different seasons of life. If you are ready to learn these new essential rules to protect your brain, please type the number 1 in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. It's completely free, and this information is truly vital for your health and safety. Okay, doctor, let's get right into the list of these surprising fruits. I want to start with one that is probably in 90% of American kitchens right now, a fruit we see as the ultimate safe food. Let's talk about bananas.
Yes, the banana, a very friendly and easy-to-eat fruit. But as the source material you shared points out, the danger for a senior is often not in the banana itself, but in the ripeness of the banana and the timing of when it is eaten. An overripe banana is a very different food than a firm, slightly green one. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 76-year-old retired librarian from Illinois. She was very health conscious. She would intentionally let her bananas get very ripe with many brown spots because she found them sweeter and easier to digest. She would often have 1 or 2 in the morning, sometimes blending them into a large smoothie. One morning, she woke up feeling unusually dizzy, and her speech was slightly slurred for a few minutes. Her husband, very wisely, took her to the emergency room. The doctors diagnosed her with a mild ischemic stroke. Her blood pressure had spiked overnight, and her blood tests showed that her potassium levels were unusually high. The doctors explained that while the bananas were not the only cause, the combination of the very high sugar load and the concentrated potassium from the overripe bananas, along with her natural morning dehydration, had likely created a perfect storm inside her body.
Margaret's story is a perfect example of the science at play. Let's break down those 2 factors for our viewers. First, the sugar. As a banana gets more brown spots, its starches convert into fast-absorbing, simple sugars. This means an overripe banana has a very high glycemic index. For an older body which may already have some level of insulin resistance, this causes a very rapid spike in blood sugar, which is a major stress on the entire cardiovascular system. Second, let's talk about the potassium overload. As you've taught us before, Doctor, the kidneys of an older person do not clear excess potassium as efficiently. If a person is also taking a common blood pressure medication that makes the body retain even more potassium, eating 1 or 2 large potassium-rich bananas in one sitting can push their levels into a range that can affect heart rhythm and dangerously alter blood pressure.
So, the rule for bananas is one of moderation and wisdom. If you are going to eat a banana, it is better to choose one that is still firm, perhaps even with a little green at the stem. It will have more resistant starch and less sugar. It is also wise to eat only half a banana at a time. And as we will discuss later, it is always best to eat it with a source of protein or fat, like some nut butter or yogurt, to slow down the sugar absorption.
That is such an important distinction about ripeness. Now, what about our next fruit, doctor? These are even smaller and seem even more harmless. Let's talk about grapes.
Yes, grapes, a very easy snack. So easy, in fact, that many people eat them by the bowlful without even thinking. This was the case for a patient of mine, Mrs. Evelyn Morris, a 79-year-old retired music teacher. She loved her mid-morning routine of sitting down with a large bowl of sweet red grapes while she read her books. One day, while writing a birthday card to her grandson, she suddenly noticed her hand was trembling. A few minutes later, she could not remember how to spell the simple word congratulations. She knew something was very wrong. Her daughter rushed her to the hospital, and the doctors confirmed she had experienced a TIA, or a mini stroke. Her blood sugar was very high, and her blood tests showed markers of low-grade inflammation that she never knew she had.
And that's because, as the source material rightly points out, modern table grapes are essentially pure sugar in a small package with very little fiber to slow down its absorption. When that rush of glucose and fructose hits the bloodstream of a senior, it can be highly inflammatory to the delicate, fragile inner lining of the blood vessels, especially the tiny ones in the brain. This inflammation over time can create a sticky surface inside the arteries, where a small blood clot can form much more easily. It is a slow, quiet damage that adds up day after day.
So my advice for grapes is very clear. Never eat them on an empty stomach. Always pair them with a partner, like a few almonds or a small piece of cheese to slow down that sugar rush. And you must control the portion. A small handful is a snack. A large bowl is a danger. And it is very wise to avoid eating them at night when your body is preparing for rest and does not need a sudden spike in blood sugar.
It really shows how even the good things we've been given must be enjoyed with wisdom and moderation. That sense of balance is such a key part of caring for our health. So the big lesson from bananas and grapes is to be incredibly mindful of the sugar load and how our bodies handle it as we age. But our next fruit doctor presents a different and more complex kind of hidden danger. Let's talk about pineapple.
Yes, the pineapple, a sweet tropical fruit that many people enjoy as a dessert after dinner because it feels light and healthy. But as you said, Ben, the risk here is more complex. It is not just one thing. It is a combination of 3 things that can create a problem for an older adult. Let me tell you about Mrs. Clara Hughes, a 77-year-old retired choir director. She was a woman who was doing everything right to care for her health. Instead of cake or cookies after dinner, she would enjoy a few slices of fresh pineapple every single night. But one morning she woke up feeling very dizzy and could not walk in a straight line. Her daughter noticed her speech was slurred and immediately took her to the hospital. The scans confirmed a small stroke had occurred in the back part of her brain, the part that affects balance and coordination. it was not one single cause. The doctors concluded it was likely the combination of risks from her nightly pineapple habit.
Let's break down that combination of risks for our viewers because it is so important to understand. There are 3 different things happening here when a senior eats pineapple late at night. First, as we have discussed before on Healthier Daily, pineapple contains a powerful enzyme called bromelain. Bromelain can act as a natural blood thinner. If you are already taking any medication that affects clotting, this can increase your risk of a bleed. Second, pineapple is very high in sugar. Eating it after dinner, when your body's metabolism is slowing down, creates a blood sugar spike that puts stress on your blood vessels while you are trying to sleep. And third, and this is a fascinating point from the source material, pineapple is very acidic. For many older adults, this can trigger silent acid reflux at night. You may not even feel a burning pain, but this can cause tiny amounts of stomach acid to enter your airway while you sleep, which can lead to small but significant drops in your oxygen levels. This low oxygen state or hypoxia is a known trigger for strokes.
So the advice for pineapple is very simple. Enjoy it in small portions and always enjoy it earlier in the day, not right before you go to bed. Your brain needs calm, steady oxygen while you sleep, not these kinds of surprises.
That is an incredible combination of risks from just one fruit. Now, what about our 4th fruit? It is one we all think of as the ultimate hydrating and healthy summer treat. Let's talk about watermelon.
Yes, watermelon, light, refreshing, and over 90% water. But this is a perfect example of how a food's greatest strength can also become its greatest risk for a senior if the context is wrong. I think of Mr. Howard Larkin, an 82-year-old retired postal worker. One of his favorite habits during the warm months was to enjoy 2 or 3 large slices of chilled watermelon after dinner to cool down. He was also taking a diuretic, a water pill, that his doctor had prescribed for his blood pressure. One morning, he woke up feeling extremely dizzy, and when he tried to stand up from his bed, he collapsed. At the emergency room, the doctors found that his blood pressure was dangerously low, and his lab tests showed clear signs of dehydration. His blood had become too thick. A scan confirmed he had suffered a small ischemic stroke caused by a blood clot that had likely formed overnight when his blood flow had slowed down too much.
And that's because, as the source text explains so well, watermelon acts as a powerful natural diuretic. This means it makes you urinate a lot. If you are already taking a prescription water pill and then you eat a large amount of watermelon in the evening, you are setting yourself up for significant overnight dehydration. As we know, dehydration makes your blood physically thicker and more prone to clotting. At the same time, watermelon can also lower your blood pressure because of the citrulline it contains. So now you have a very dangerous situation happening while you sleep thicker, sludgy blood and lower blood pressure, trying to pump it through your body's narrow vessels. It is the perfect condition for a clot to form and get stuck in one of the small arteries in the brain.
So once again, the wisdom is in the timing and the portion size. Enjoy a small slice of watermelon earlier in the day. And if you are taking a diuretic medication, you must speak to your doctor before making watermelon a regular part of your diet.
This is so important. Understanding these interactions is key to our safety. It is a blessing to be able to share this information. To help us see our global community that we are connecting with, please let us know what city, state, or country you are watching from. It's so encouraging to see you all here. Doctor, after hearing these 6 very serious and specific warnings, our viewers must be feeling very nervous about eating fruit at all. This is the perfect time to give them the solution. Please share with us your safe fruit protocol for seniors.
Of course, the goal is never to create fear. The goal is to provide wisdom. You can and you should enjoy fruit. You simply need to follow a few new rules that respect your body as it is today. My safe fruit protocol is built on 5 simple principles. First, timing is everything. Eat your fruit in the morning or in the early afternoon when your body is active. Avoid eating large amounts of sweet fruit late at night when your metabolism is slowing down. Second, pair it with a partner. Try to never eat fruit by itself, especially sweet fruit. Always pair it with a small amount of a healthy protein or a healthy fat. Third, portion, not plates. A proper serving of fruit for a senior is a small amount, what can fit in the palm of your hand, not a large bowl. Fourth, prioritize fiber. This means choosing the whole fruit with the skin on whenever possible instead of drinking fruit juice. And the fifth and most important principle of all, know your medications. You must understand that you are the expert on your life, but your doctor and pharmacist are the experts on your medications.
That is a fantastic and very clear framework, Doctor. I'd love for you to expand on 2 of those points that I think are so critical for our viewers. First, can you give us some practical examples of pairing fruit with a partner? And second, can you re-emphasize just how important that final rule about medications is?
Excellent questions. For pairing, the idea is to slow down the absorption of the fruit sugar. So you could have a few slices of apple with a piece of cheese or a spoonful of almond butter. You could have a handful of berries with a bowl of plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. Or you could have half a banana sliced into your oatmeal, which contains fiber and protein. The partner acts as a buffer and prevents a sharp spike in your blood sugar. As for the 5th rule, it is the most important because it is a matter of safety. The stories we shared about Mr. Bryant and Mr. Booker show that some fruits can powerfully change the way your body processes medication. This is why you must have a conversation with your pharmacist. Take a list of your medications and ask them, are there any fruits or juices I should be careful with while taking these? It is a simple 5-minute conversation that could prevent a very serious problem.
That's such responsible advice. And it's amazing how each of those rules is backed by simple science. The pairing rule helps to manage your glycemic response. The timing rule works with your body's natural insulin sensitivity throughout the day. And the medication rule helps you avoid dangerous enzymatic interactions in the liver. It's a complete system based on respecting how an older body works. And it's a perfect example of being a good steward of the health we've been blessed with. Doctor, this has been an incredibly eye-opening and important guide. The biggest takeaway for me is that it's not that fruit is the enemy. It's that our aging bodies have a new set of rules that we must learn and respect. Understanding this is a critical aspect of good nutrition for seniors. By understanding these new rules about timing, about portion sizes, and especially about medication interactions, we can continue to enjoy fruit safely. This is so very important for protecting our brain health. This knowledge helps us create a diet that actively lowers our risk of a stroke. This is what smart nutrition for seniors is all about, making informed choices, not just following old, outdated habits. By being mindful of these details, we can prevent the conditions that can lead to a stroke and truly support our long-term brain health. This has been a masterclass in responsible nutrition for seniors, and it's a key part of maintaining your independence and your brain health for all the years to come.
I want to leave you with this final thought. Wisdom is not about fear. It is about understanding. Understand your body as it is today. Give it what it needs, with care, with respect, and with moderation. Listen to its signals, both good and bad. If you do this, you can live a long, vibrant, and healthy life, full of joy and full of good food.
That is a wonderful message, Doctor. Understanding and wisdom. It's a reminder to be good stewards of the bodies we have been blessed with, especially in this season of life. And of course, the wisest first step is always to discuss your diet and your medications with your personal doctor or a registered dietitian. Please remember that our conversation today is for educational purposes. It is not a substitute for the direct medical advice from your own trusted physician who knows your full health history. If you found this guide helpful and eye-opening, please give this video a like so that others can find this vital information, and be sure to share it with a friend or family member who you care about. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. It is completely free and it ensures you will join us for more practical health guides. And for our community discussion today, we would love to know, what is one new rule about eating fruit that you learned today and plan to follow? Sharing your thoughts in the comments below can help our entire community learn and grow. Thank you for being with us. Be well and be wise.